Hi family, I'm Jordan Thorpe and this is Jordan's Journey YouTube channel where we are moving forward in life and in faith. If you are new, welcome. If you're already subscribed to the family, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today family, I wanted to talk to you in regards to you were created to develop in a different direction. You were developed to go down a different path, okay? And that is the exact definition of a word called a divergent, okay? Divergent. Tending to be different or develop in different directions, okay? Divergent, that's from the Google dictionary. And so over the past couple days, I've been watching the movie Divergent. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with that movie, it was a popular film when it first came out, but it was about a woman who grew up in a town, and at a certain point at your age, as a young adult, you would have to choose a specific group that you wanted to grow up in. Okay, you had to choose a specific category, whether it was like fearless, whether it was caring, you just had to choose one, and that was the group. But in the movie, the person who did not fit in either category, but were all categories at once, they called them divergents. And in the movie, the government was set out to kill divergents because the government looked at these people as a threat, because they did not fit in any category. Therefore, they could not be controlled. They could not be controlled by the media. They could not be controlled by the messaging, okay? So the people that were divergent in the movie were considered a threat because they were developing down a different path. They weren't conforming, okay? They weren't conforming. And as I was watching this movie, there were very many similarities as a follower of Christ, okay? As a follower of Christ. In Romans 12:2, it tells us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Okay, so the Bible tells us, okay, as believers, do not conform. So we're not just going with the flow. We're not doing what everyone else is doing. We're not going down the same path as everyone else is going down. So the opposite of conforming is to rebel. Okay, to rebel. So there is going to be a sense of rebellion to you, okay, because you're not going with the world, but you're going against the world. We're doing the opposite of what the world is doing. And a lot of times as we're going along our journey, you know, I know for myself, I was a very rebellious child growing up. I did what I wanted to do. I did. And now, and it wasn't necessarily for my good back then, but now that I'm older, I still have that same rebellion spirit, but it's for Christ. I see why. Because when you are a follower of Christ, there's a spirit of rebellion in you. And so God is saying, you're different. Your path is going to be different. Your life is going to look different. Your life is not going to look like how everyone around you's life is looking. Things may not happen in the same chronological order that most people's lives happen in those order, because God is saying you are different. I called you and set you apart. Divergent. You're developing and going towards a different path. This narrow path of righteousness. God is saying, I called you and set you apart as a nation. You're set apart. So do not conform, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God. That by testing. So there are things that you're going to experience in life that is going to test you. It's going to test you because you're going to have to know what is good and what is acceptable. It may come in the form of heartbreak. It may come in the form of lack. But you're going to get tested. And as a believer, you understand that you have to pass the test. You understand that what you're going through is only a test. And once you pass the test, by keeping the faith, by keeping your commands, you get to the next level. You understand that a lot of this is just an illusion. God says, cast your cares onto him. Do not worry. So there's a part of you that, you know, as believers, we shouldn't be taking life too seriously. Yes, we should care about our life. But there's also a part where God tells us to not care, to not worry. Just pass the test. Understanding what is good and acceptable. In the movie Divergent, what made her a divergent, going down a different path, what made other people in society recognize her as a divergent is how she passed the test. She would pass the test in each category with flying colors, because she understood that it was only a test, that it wasn't real. She understood that it was only an illusion. So she was breaking the glass. She was breaking the glass ceiling. She was literally breaking the glass in the movie. But as a believer, you can break the glass ceiling in your life. There is no ceiling. It's only a test. And as you're passing the test, there's elevation, and people will look at your life and see, how is she moving forward in life? Because you're passing the test. Proverbs 1:15 tells us, my son, do not walk in the way with them. Hold back your foot from their paths. My son, do not walk in the way with them. This is Proverbs. Hold back your foot from their paths. Again, you were created to go in a different direction, down a different path. Your life is not going to look the same as everyone else around you. You are going to have a spirit of rebellion, and sometimes that can be frowned upon in society. But rebellion is a fruit of the Spirit. It says, do not be conformed. The Bible tells us to not conform. So there is going to be a sense of rebellion to you, period. That is the opposite of non-conforming. Jesus did not just go with the flow. He did what he came to do. He was rebelling against the synagogues. He was rebelling against the traditions. He didn't conform to any of it, and they crucified him for it, right? There was a dream that I had, and it was about a little girl, and she wanted to enter the competition. She wanted to enter this competition about entrepreneurship, and she didn't know anything about it. She didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. She was a young girl, and she wanted to enter this competition, and her mother allowed her. But there was just a sense of bravery, just jumping into it, not knowing anything about it, but having the confidence and the bravery to still move forward in that thing. And a lot of you, God is saying, I need you to move forward in bravery and confidence, because at the time, I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to tell you what to say. Bravery, confidence, rebellion. You have to just do it. Put your Nikes on and just do it. Okay? So God is saying, I've called you, set you apart. You're going down a different path. And that is called a divergent. Okay? And so don't be alarmed, but embrace it. Embrace your path. Embrace your differences. Embrace your timing. You're not a one-hit wonder, but you're here to last. You have longevity in this. And so with longevity, it can take people a little bit longer to build. Because you're not just here for a moment to be a trending topic, but you're here to build legacy. And so that's all I have for now. If you need to identify your gifts and create a custom strategy to monetize your gifts and abilities, make sure you book a one-on-one coaching session. God loves you so much, and so do I. Bye.